frankly, it's we've had so much documentation that we are taking forever to copy it. So I will, and there's stuff that you'll be getting within the next 15 minutes. There's CDs full of information. They all have the CDs? Okay. And some others. But I want to start out and say that today I filed a complaint with the Office of Administrative Hearings regarding illegal campaign practices and activities of my opponent, Rebecca Otto. She has twice violated the Fair Campaign Practices and Campaign Finance Acts. And my opponent's been making false claims about my record throughout the campaign, and I pointed this out to her 3 times now, but she's refused to stop. So I'm left with no other option but to engage in this process. Now specifically, she claims that I only performed 10 investigations or letters of review in my entire tenure as state auditor. She claims that she did 3 times that, 32 investigations. And she says that my work essentially doesn't exist because it's not on a taxpayers funded website, which she controls. And this is exactly why this process was established. I've tried to correct this calmly and without political bombast, but my opponent has refused to be civil and correct her false statements. And further, despite being corrected many times publicly, she's point blank refused to correct those false statements and is on the record defending them. These statements by my opponent are false. What I have in your packet, and I will be reading, is over 200 pages of documentation. These are newspaper articles written by many of you in this room on special investigations that we completed while I was in office. What we did is went through a search of news articles to find any special investigation information that we could find during my tenure. And we found 29 separate special investigations or letters of review that were of importance enough to actually be covered by the press, 29. Rebecca Otto claims that we only did 10 special investigations. Many of the investigations she's missing were very, very high-profile investigations, as you can see from the 200 pages of press clippings before you. The Republican Party asked for the Special Investigation Information and Database last month. After Rebecca Otto started making these comments, they still have not received that information. And that's what drove us, after correcting her several times, to go through old news clippings to find the information. I think it is going to be without dispute that her statements are false. Both her statement that we only performed 10 special investigations, letters of review, and the statement regarding the 3 times more investigations that she did over us. The bar that we have to establish is that she knowingly did it, or she should have known. Now, as the state auditor, she has sole access to the past records. She also has a special investigation database where all of this information is held. When I served as state auditor, I had full access to Judy Dutcher's records, and that still exists. And the staff that perform these investigations, almost exclusively, is still at the Office of State Auditor. They're still the same people. So the work that she says doesn't exist is the work of the people that are still at the office. I think it's clear. The other issue I want to really point out is Rebecca Otto has full control over the state auditor's website. And you can see there's in your attachments, I think it's attachment C or D, where she's made lots of changes to the website, including completely revamping it, which she has full authority to do. You can also see that she's deleted press releases, all the e-updates, etc. during my tenure as auditor. Which again, she has full right to do, but she doesn't have the right to say that it never existed in the first place. And that's exactly what she's doing in the case of special investigations. Now this is an important issue because this is one of the main points or arguments that she's making in her campaign. She's trying to state that she has been productive, or 3 times more productive than we have. And she's pointing very specifically to a website that she controls in counting numbers, and they're absolutely inaccurate, and she knows that. So this is of high importance, and due to the fact that the election is less than 6 weeks away, we don't expect Auditor Otto to release the information that the Republican Party has asked for. I did have no other option but to file this complaint. It will be expedited, I believe, and it will be dealt with within about 10 days. So I'm going to take some questions.
Can you say where she's making this claim?
She's made the claim in, I think it's in B. She has made this claim 8 times that we have found since July. It's in her literature, the paid campaign literature. She made the claim at a Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities forum where I corrected her. I said she was wrong. That's on tape. That's on your CDs. She has made the claim in several newspaper articles, which she has then turned around and posted to her own website, which makes those also campaign materials off of her website. All of those are in your documents. I believe that they are, I think they're in packet B.
Correct. How extensive has her scrubbing of the website been regarding you and your tenure?
It's specifically in regards to the investigations or my tenure period. There are no press releases from my tenure. There are no e-updates from my tenure. She still has some of the reports and studies that we did. She hasn't scrubbed that. Some of the special investigations are there. Now, I want to point out that we didn't post all the special investigations either, or we would post them and take them down. And you can see that in, I think it's D of the documents, where we actually are on our own, posted things and took them down. We only left things up there that we, for long periods of time, that we thought were of importance. But they exist, and she knows they exist. This is her office. She has full control over the documents, the records, the database. She knows what work we did.
Is there any reason to believe she's done more than scrub the website? Has she gotten rid of any of the documents that you're aware of?
I absolutely hope not, because if she did, that is illegal. You cannot get rid of documents for a certain period of time. You have to hold on to them and store them. I have no reason to believe that she's done that. We would find out if she would actually release the documents that we've asked for. And by the way, releasing the database would take about an hour of time to actually get that done. Some of the data requests that have come back have been less than an hour that was billed. And if you recall, back in June, she complained that it would take months and months and huge staff time, and that's not been what's happened. But we've had delay after delay, and in this case, this is simply printing something off. We're not asking for any sort of private data. We have asked for the numbers of investigations opened, the numbers closed, and the numbers still open during my term and during her term, and the names of those that have been, that are public, that have been essentially closed. They're done. That's all we've asked for, and it's right in an Excel spreadsheet.
Does the Office of Administrative Things have to accept your complaint?
They do. They have, I believe, since this is election season, I think it will happen by tomorrow is my guess, or Monday at the latest. The first bar is to accept the complaints. I think it's if the allegations are true, that it would be a complaint. We have no doubt that that will occur. And I believe that the hearing itself will probably be expedited too. It would be probably within a week. We have provided extensive documentation on this claim. The basis to begin is, did Pat Anderson do more than 10 special investigations? Everyone in this room knows that we did more than 10 special investigations, or letters of review that are combined in her totals. There's 28 right here. You guys have covered me, many of you, and you know that that's not true. The secondary basis is, did she distribute? Absolutely she did, and that's in the complaint. And the third is, did she know it? And I can say that for her to deny knowing nothing about what's in her own files, the extensive coverage of many of these special investigations, which she says no longer exist. Things that were on the website were removed by her, which, again, she has the right to do that. She has the right to edit the website over time. But what she is doing is pointing very specifically back from her campaign and saying, hey, here's the numbers. And she is pointing from her campaign to a public taxpayer-funded website, which is not the full record. She knows it's not the full record. It never has been the full record. And she has full control over what's on that website. That's a misuse of both the public trust and of taxpayer dollars.